Oh, you weren't expecting me, were you? I'm AKA Heather Joy, and you guys are on the lifeboat. And Tommy, his power's out. He is trying to get somewhere where he has power, so he has the internet. And so, guess what? I'm just here to hold his place until he can pop on. Anyway, Mr. Ray Ray said something. Wait, one of your chickens you think is what? Hang on, it just jumped. Hang on. It's one of your chickens is definitely a rooster. Isn't it the cutest thing when they first start to try and crow? It is funny. They sound like they've got somebody strangling them and they're trying to crow at the same time. It's the funniest thing. Anyway, hey Virginia and Quiet Girl, good to see you, Karen. Miss B, Goosebump, Charlie, Mr. Ray Ray, Mr. Dragon, Tegan. Let's see, Monk is here. Lemmy's here. Carousel Delirium, hey Sarah. Tim's here. Let's see, who else? I missed anybody yet? Goddess Divine is here. Let's see. I'm sure I've missed somebody, but let's see. Maybe I haven't. Anyway, Tommy Bird's here. I always miss Tommy Bird because he's always way there at the beginning of the comment stream. All right. Anybody else pop in while I was down there? Wow, got a lot of people here. Leisure, hey Leisure. We are just waiting for Tommy. If you didn't hear me, Leisure, Tommy's power went out, and I had a message from him that he is trying to get somewhere where he has power so he can come on, because when the power goes out, he loses the internet. And I mean, he could come on his phone, but anyway, we're just kind of waiting for him. Yeah. That little stinker. If you guys saw my last, when I was on just at 2 hours ago, the cat in my lap, I had to go put her outside the door. I don't know if you could hear during the stream, but she banged on that door for a good 15 minutes before she gave up. It's just weird. I've been here since Saturday, and both those kitties have been the sweetest little things until today. I don't know what the deal is. Man, she got mean. I guess she misses her daddy or something. I don't know. Anyway, oh, here he is. All right.
I don't think you have any idea what I've gone through trying to go live today. So we had a vicious monsoon yet again. So this is live on the phone. I came over to a house that has power but does not have internet. So when I got over here, the internet was out as well. I mean, if Ray Ray's around, he can tell you it just got really, really ugly, really, really quick. Let me see if I can pull up chat. Chat. I am not seeing chat. What a bummer. Oh, there we go. Hey, everybody. Can you guys still see me? No.
I can see you.
You couldn't see me, correct?
I can see you.
You could?
I don't know about anybody else. I can see you.
Okay. I was just trying to catch the chat, but apparently I'm not going to see the chat. So Heather, you may have to help me.
You got a 5x5. They can see.
I can't hear you, Heather. When you're, that's the only time that I can hear you.
I forget. Yeah. Well, you got a 5x5.
Say it again.
You got a 5x5.
I got a 5x5. Okay. If anyone has any questions, I'm not going to be able to see them. We were hoping to do a Q&A tonight, but there has not been a tremendous amount of cooperation from the weather here in Arizona. I'm telling you. If anybody saw the Aftermath Foundation's documentary today, if you haven't seen it, go see it. it will give you a completely different perspective on AA running, what those guys are doing over there. Because I mean, it will put a lump right in your throat. It's a absolutely beautiful piece where they stepped in and just absolutely changed somebody's life. It's beautiful stuff. If you haven't seen it, please get over and see it. You'll thank me later. I promise you, you will thank me later. Really, really great stuff. But so Heather, as this stuff's coming in, it looked like snow. If you looked outside, the entire in certain spots where it was cooler or whatever, and it had been in the shade prior to the storm. The hail was so thick it looked like snow. I mean, like a half an inch of it just covered everything. And for a good minute, I thought the windows were going to blow out of the house. And I'm pretty convinced that probably happens often around here. I would not be surprised whatsoever to find out that on a pretty regular basis, people get their windows blown out.
Right.
I know it sounds ludicrous. I can't begin to tell you. When the storm is hitting, it is so loud it sounds like a hurricane. It's pretty impressive, and I dig it. I love severe weather. It was it's fun, but it does shake the hell out of the house, and neither my mom or Squirrel was very happy. I was trying to keep Squirrel calm, but she was doing this high off the ground, going from room to room, looking for a place to hide. Yeah, she's a very unhappy pussycat.
Oh, she'll get used to it, I hope.
You know what? I don't know that I'll get used to it, but I think we'll tough them out, though. We're gonna tough them out. These are some pretty ridiculous storms. I've not in my time on this planet seen too many things like it. When I was here, it would have been about maybe 2017 or 2018. I was in Tucson for over a year at their FCI, and maybe it was 2017. I don't know. It was somewhere about early on in my sentence, but I was down there, and we had monsoons, but there's no way to have any kind of perspective on it if you're in a government-built concrete bunker. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a house and you've got appliances and things and all kinds of other stuff, it's a different story. And windows in prison, there really are no windows. I mean, they may look like a window, but it's not. It's it's about an inch high.
Same thing inside a psych unit.
Yeah, they're not made for staring out of it all. I think they're made to allow just enough light to come in so that they're good on any law that the government put up about how many people are supposed to. How much sunshine you're supposed to get on a daily basis. I believe that to be the case. Pretty ugly stuff. Oh, there was one question that somebody wrote to me earlier, and they were asking about Suboxone in prison. And the question was, does Suboxone get smuggled into prison? And it was probably the most popular drug in prison this last time that I was there.
Oh, really?
Because of how, they don't train dogs to sniff the Suboxone. And because not the pills, but the film is a very, very small little, I don't even know what you call it. It's thinner than paper, and it's very easy to smuggle in. People put them in books. There's a lot of ways to get a lot of them in. And so they were everywhere, and they get sold in very, very small increments. Like a strip will be cut into 16 to 32 pieces. And
do anything blows my mind. At least with my receptors, they're so jaded.
You know what's insane? Everybody says that, but the truth of the matter is that buprenorphine is a very, very unusual substance. If you've not been on it and you've not been on other drugs, let's say you had 4 or 5 years of not doing anything. I watched some guys in there that were, really hard drug users in the street that said, "Oh man, a 16th of that isn't going to do anything to me," and then you see them in the day room nodding out. And I think that there's a phenomenon with that drug that the smaller the amount that you take, truthfully, I think the more that it almost acts like a drug that gives you a buzz. The more of it that you take, the higher the amount of naloxone, and the more the drug, believe it or not, blocks itself and knocks quite a bit of itself off the receptors. But his other question was, what happens if people get dope sick in prison? if people get dope sick in prison, it looks remarkably like people getting dope sick on the street. The difference would be that they're not going to go down to the store and get some chocolate. You know what I mean? They're probably not going to be out and about trying to find a way to make themselves feel better. They're just going to lay in that cell, and it happens. It happens sometimes. The yards will, let's say that they. This is one of the reasons that the yards are structured the way that they are. The reason that there's a shot caller for every car. The reason that you can't just get into a fight with anybody at any time is because the convicts are all counting on visiting to be the conduit that brings all of the dope into the prison. And if we're not getting visits, then no one's getting dope. And sometimes, guys will do stuff and get the prison locked down for 5 or 6 months. Well, there's not 5 or 6 months worth of dope in that prison. So I remember the warden at Victorville, FCI Victorville, he came walking into the day room in E unit and first floor E unit and walked in and said, so gentlemen, how are you enjoying rehab?
That was mean. That was mean.
Yeah. Well, here's the crazy thing. This guy walked around and said a lot of really messed up things in every unit. This is a true story, right? The guy's name was Calvin Johnson. The warden's name was Calvin Johnson. And Calvin Johnson went from unit to unit. Well, our unit was notorious for being a drug unit. So what he said there was, directed at all of the people that were doing dope in E-Block. But he went over to another unit, and a very devout Muslim cat said to him, I can't eat this food, right? The peanut butter doesn't say halal on it, right? So that it would be kosher for his, kosher is not the right word, but it would be, fine for them to eat in their religion. Well, it had a universal symbol on it. And I used to work in the kitchen and I used to order that stuff. And the universal symbol covers halal and it covers everything else. But instead of taking the time to explain this to this Muslim cat, old Calvin Johnson just says, well, then I guess you're going to go hungry. And he walked out. Well, we were locked down for another 2 months.
Oh, boy.
So when we came off lockdown, this Muslim gentleman managed to get a carpet knife into the chow hall, and he cut the warden. The warden had to be airlifted off the yard.
Holy crap.
Yeah, he cut him through a 3-piece suit, but he was tackled and beat up, but it threw us back on lockdown again. So by the time that first day of visiting came, it really was rehab. Like, I don't think there was anybody left on the yard that was still doing dope. But the cops don't really want to. The prison guards don't care if there's somebody in there and they're dope sick. He doesn't. That's something that just doesn't show up on his radar. And usually, like at that level, when you're at that was a disciplinary yard. So if you were a screw up, you kind of got sent there. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, at the higher custody. I'm sorry, I got a dog right here. I'm at someone else's house, and
let's see.
Dog, I am this dog's favorite human being too, which doesn't help. He's a really strange doggy, but I absolutely love him, and I don't know that too many people do. So I make a really big deal of him whenever I come over, and he digs me. Unfortunately, he digs me while I'm filming, and is sort of just trying to. So anyway, to make a long story short, the cops don't care. They don't care if you're tattooing. But the higher the custody level, guys walk up to guards and say, "We're going to be making moonshine in cell, 28." Is that something you're cool with on your shift if we make sure we've got somebody out watching, like somebody on point? And most of the cops will say, yeah, I don't care. Do what you're doing, just don't drink it on my shift. Keep it away from me. I mean, very often they just don't care. They want to go home as bad as as everybody else. And it can be a very dangerous job. And very often there's not enough of them. Very often, like right now, their numbers are really, really down, and which sucks because that's a really
my family members job. Work in the prisons here in Utah, and yeah, I'm hearing the stories.
Yeah, I mean it's a very difficult occupation, and I think that in a lot of ways those people do time like the inmates do, and they're I mean that's something that you'll hear COs they'll say to you what kind of sentence did you get, Scoville, and you say I got 96 months or whatever, and they'll say yeah I got 13 years left myself, right? Because they just want to get to the end of that number and retire, and if you think about it, I mean, they're going to prison for 8 hours a day. It's a tough job, they get to leave and they get to go home. But it's I think it's tough on people, and it takes a very specific kind of person. There are people who are fantastic at it, and then there are people, especially in the federal system, and then there are people that probably shouldn't be there. The federal system does what it can to hire people who are coming back from combat, which I think is a really, really cool idea to get people jobs as they're coming back. But I'm not sure that that's the best environment for someone that's coming back from combat. You know, it's when I was in Victorville, there were two guards over the course of about a 1 month period of time who came to the parking lot in the morning and unalived themselves before going to punch in, and it was two of them in a month. You know, and no matter where they do it, you know, you're going to hear that noise. And in prison, everybody's ears are kind of tuned for anything weird that's going on anyway. And you hear that blast, and everybody thought, oh boy, you know, because usually that would mean that there's an inmate on the other side of that. But yeah, it's so I got a little far afield, but they don't care if you're sick. They really don't. I mean, you know, some guards who are really cool might go out of their way to help you, give you something sugary, you know, some chocolate or something that can buy you a little bit of time, a little bit of feeling better. But for the most part, yeah, they just don't care. But there's definitely a lot of it in prison. I mean, a lot of it. And I've been on prison yard where one single strip was selling for $400. It's a lot of money. So when you start talking about, you know, that amount of cash, these guys are not, you know, getting this in stamps. They've got people on the street who are wiring money, you know, to someone's family or whatever they're doing. But they're figuring out some way to hustle to get money in so that they can, you know, take care of their habit.
And I had a friend. I have a very good friend that her son was just got out of prison, and when he first went in, and he was he got busted with heroin, and she said, well, he's going to be clean now. And I said, no, he's not. And she said, oh yes, he is. He's in prison. I'm like, you don't understand prison then. Yeah. And I just left it at that. And I didn't, she was already so upset. I didn't want to make it worse, but I thought, oh honey.
Yeah. Sadly, for a lot of people, it's maybe even worse because, you know, as opposed to having to go out into town, right? It's like if you take the entire, you know, your universe and you shrink it into a building that's, you know, half the size of a football field, and you put 220 guys in it. You know, there are going to be 5 drug dealers in that 220 guys, and it's in a very short little space. And their business model has to rely on handing somebody dope without money. I mean, it's a pretty crazy concept, and it causes a hell of a lot of problems in prison. But more often than not, you know, because of the high prices for this stuff, it's I'll give you this and you owe me $500, or I give you this and you owe me $400 or whatever, and it causes a lot of problems. It really does. But there are people. Just because you go to prison doesn't mean you're getting clean. Believe that. You have to make a decision that it's over and start taking action to, you know, to make that happen. Because yeah, it's if you think you're going to go there and not see dope, there were some yards that I was on that, I kid you not, if you had money, you could get just about anything. You know, all the big ones. You know, if you were into weed, or you were into coke, or you were into, you know, any of the drugs that you think of when you think of street drugs, all of those were available. And then, you know, there would be some pills that were getting sold or whatever. And believe it or not, there was I was on a yard where there was a lot of LSD. Yeah, right. I remember the first time the guy said to me, he's like, "Yeah, you know, we're getting a couple of hits of blotter and we're going to trip." And I was like, "In prison? You know, you want to take LSD? You're a brave soul."
That could be a seriously bad trip, depending on what's going on around you.
I don't know how it could be anything but, to be really honest. I'm not kidding, Heather. Like, when I heard this the first time, I sat there bewildered, you know, for like an hour or two, going, "Man, they're going to intentionally take that stuff in prison with inmates around fighting and doing all of that." I cannot imagine it.
Bad. Well, hey, you had a question from Tommy Bird. Did most of your guards at least let you guys cap the doors at night and stuff, Captain?
You know what? The guards in the federal system are so by the book, it is absolutely insane. The exception to the rule is at the higher custody levels, Tommy. You can go over to a cop, and there's a lot that they will let you do. But anything having to do, yeah, they're not letting anything like that happen in the feds, not in any way, shape, or form. In the early days, I remember the first time I went there. There were prisons where you could still open your window, and they had huge metal bars, right? You're not getting out. They're these big, fat steel things that are about 4 inches by 4 inches and kind of rounded. But you could open your window, and you could lay there with the breeze coming in, and it was. There were some places that they made very tolerable.
Oh, your son's here.
Oh, no kidding. Spanky. Spanks, good to see you.
He said, we live right now. What time is it over there?
We're at about 20 after, but what we have is absolutely no power, none whatsoever. The monsoon has decimated the hood. On the way over here, like there was mud and stones and things all over the road. Things tossed everywhere. There was the top of a hot tub. You know how you put your those little things that fold over the top of a hot tub to keep the water in and keep everything. There was one of those in the middle of the road, like dead square in the middle of the road. So it's this was a humdinger. This one was so scary I didn't even film it. You know, I was a little over the top. I thought about filming it, but every time I went to look for my phone, it got scarier, and I stopped and went. Yeah, so did that looking around number, thinking the skylights were about to blow out. The hail was, I'm telling you, the amount of hail, it looked like snow. It really did. I am bummed out that I couldn't do this. That I couldn't do this with a proper setup so that I could read your questions and see everything. But we are in the anniversary week here at the Lifeboat of 2 years officially. So I think it's pretty safe to say that we'll be doing considerably more broadcasting in the next 3 days. On Monday, I think it is. I'm going to be flying all day long. I am getting on an airplane and flying somewhere, and then getting off the plane, going somewhere, signing 2 pieces of paper, getting back on the airplane, and flying back home. So Monday ought to be a trip. I'll sneak in a video or 2 from the airport, because that always makes airport security angry as hell, and that's fun. You know what I mean? I get to do my Lemmy. And tell him, man, I film whatever I want. It's the United States. Lemmy's not he's not shy about it.
No, he's not. I could not do that. I can't do that.
Did you see the video where the person pulled the gun on him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll tell you what though, he's fighting for a very important right, but it scares the hell out of me, because I dig Lemmy and I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him get ventilated by anybody. You know what I mean?
Well, that's an interesting way to put it.
Putting a vent in him.
Sorry, I had to take a muscle relaxant. I'm goofy now. That just busted me.
There you go. Are you feeling better?
That's not nice. I've taken care of patients that come up from trauma bays that have been ventilated. It's not pretty.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I've seen a little of that.
Yes, you have, more than I have.
Over the time I've been on this place, and it's not pleasant in any way, shape, or form. But it sounded nicer. I'm trying to keep the big red button from thinking.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't want the big red button to think that I'm one of those people that glorify violence. So I thought I'd go with ventilated.
No, Tommy can't see the comments. That's why I'm trying to pay attention.
Did somebody ask if I could see the comments?
Muscle relax it and try and pay attention.
And to be really honest, not only can I not see your comments, but because of how everything is set up, the image of Heather is about 2 postage stamps in size, and the image of me would be about 1 postage stamp in size. So
if you flip your phone sideways, you'll be bigger.
You know, it's hard, sadly. I think it engages a camera that actually.
Okay, well, mine flips it right, but I guess yours doesn't.
Sadly not. And this isn't the best setup. However, people, we managed to, and I'll tell you what, as soon as the power went off, I went outside and I threw my phone on the charger on the car. And had I not done that, but I mean, the second the power went out, I was like, just in case. And then I got over here with a fully charged up computer, and there is no hope for any internet currently. So I'm gonna be stuck with this. Hold on, people.
Carousel Delirium says we have the same humor and it's okay. Our twisted carousel rides. Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad I'm not the only weird one. I have a sick dark humor.
There's, you know what? I think it goes with the territory. I am trying so hard to find.
Let me put that up, okay? Quiet girl, just a second. Let me put that up. People want to call in, so I forgot to put the link up. Let me put that up right now. Let's see. Oh wait, I can wait. No, I still got to do it this way. Let's see. It'd be this one right there, and now I need to go in here. Go, come on now. Our channel right there. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Screwed. I gotta fix this again. Okay, guys. I don't know where Tommy went, but you guys can use that link now. I pinned it. Yeah, I hate it when I get stuck like this. Don't know where he went, but you know what? That's you know what? Dark humor, having a dark sense of humor is actually a sign of high intelligence. Sarah, just so you know, all of you weirdos that have dark humor like me, I don't know where he went. I wasn't paying attention to what he said. Anyway, and I wasn't looking at the chat too closely either. I'm sorry, guys. I was hurting so bad I had to break down and take a muscle relaxant, and they make me silly. I'll laugh at almost anything when I'm like this. What was that? Was the one I missed? When you Tommy Bird, were you talking about when you do Lemmy's kind of thing? Is that the auditing? Is that what you were referring to? You got this, Heather. You got a lot of faith in me. I'm goofy. I'm goofy tonight, but oh boy. I was curious, when I was on earlier today, could you guys hear the cat beating on the door when I put her outside the door? Well, there's Karen. Karen. Hi. Hello. Hi. I don't know where Tommy went, but how are you? Hi. Oh, there's that cute hair. Is it colored? I can't see. It was pink, wasn't it? Wasn't your hair pink? It's not now. It looks like
blonde.
Blonde now. Okay, I was wondering if it was still pink. So
no, it's not blonde.
Maybe the I don't know where he went. This was supposed to be a members only, and between the two of us, we're old farts. We did not grow up with computers, and we could not figure out how to make it work. So you guys are all getting it tonight, but yeah, I'm just curious where he thought he would be. 2 years into this, where he thought the channel would be. He probably didn't see me coming. Anyway, how are you, Karen? What's going on?
I'm hanging in.
Good, good. What's going on today? Has it been a decent day?
Uh, it's been a little rough.
Has it?
Yeah.
You guys, if you guys don't know, her doctor's taking her off of Clonopin, and she's been on it for a very long time. So it's not a fun ride, is it?
Far from it.
Yeah. How are you doing today? You said
Um,
it's not been such an easy day. It sounds like.
uh, the muscular skeletal pain is killing me.
Oh, really? You're getting a lot of that then. I'm so sorry.
The um, the migraines, tension headaches.
The whole bit.
They just upped they upped my gabapentin.
Okay. Do you think that's helping at all? It seems to me that people either have a really good reaction to it or they don't react to it at all. What do you think?
I'm on such a low dose of gabapentin. They just upped it to 300 milligrams.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is just once a day. Is it just once a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're going to revisit it next week. Yeah, it's once a day, but it's going to be for 400 milligrams.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So it's going to be difficult.
Oh, Spanx says Captain lost his signal. Well, crud. Oh, darn it. They're getting hit hard down there then. Well, Tommy, can you see I know Tommy's in the chat. Can you see the question on the screen? Somebody had a question about what is a P90? Oh, that I know what that is. I know what the P90 is. That was the P90X. What is that called? My husband used to have it. It's a group of CDs. It's like a stack of DVDs, and they're workouts, and they are tough workouts. And Karen, where did you go? Karen. Well, darn her. Well, you guys. Let's see. Anyway, it's some really tough workouts, and they were doing all of that. Prison. Let's see. Oh, there she is. All right, there you went. Where you went? Some Goosebump just said, does ibuprofen and acetaminophen help you at all, Karen? Oh, and then we got Mr. Ray Ray too. Sweet. Hey, Mr. Ray Ray.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I thought you left.
Hey, Ray.
Disrupt your time.
Hey, the more the
going.
I saw Tommy Bird said something. Oh, right here. What about? So his wife has also been on Klonopin over a decade, but she needs them. I think Karen. I think you need them too, to be honest. But I mean, I'm just a site nurse. I don't know, but
I was on Klonopin for years for anxiety, and I got off of them.
No, they're trying. What they're trying to do with me right now is they're trying to drop that dose down.
But you were on a very low dose to start with, which blows my mind. I mean, considering as long as you've been on it, that was a low dose. But like I said, I'm no MD. I don't know. I just know things from experience as a nurse. But man, I know you've been going through it. And Mr. Ray Ray, how long were you on it?
For about 5 years.
Oh wow! So how was it when you were you taken off of it, or did?
Yeah, I was under a doctor, and they stepped me off of it over a period of like a year and a half.
Oh wow! They're trying to do Karen like in 4 months.
Wow.
Isn't that right, Karen? They're trying to take you off of it in 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a much easier time for you, probably, Mr. Ray Ray, than.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be off of it by December 31st. But I've been on it for 14 years.
Yeah. It was just, wow.
Man, I feel like I had the easy way out then. Sorry. Because they stepped me off over like a long period of time.
Well, I was prescribed it, but in all honesty, I would take it all within like a week.
Yeah,
and then I'd wait, for the refill. So I never like went through withdrawals or anything with it. I just abused it. It was.
Yeah, mine was time released, and it was due to the fact that I would have debilitating panic attacks where I couldn't leave my house for about 3 days at a time.
Oh, wow.
Where it felt like my heart was racing and like I was having a heart attack, and it just all sorts of negative side effects from panic attacks.
Wow.
Your hands start curling up. You feel like you're having a stroke. It's like the closest you can come to dying without actually dying, and then have that happen for 3 days in a row.
Mm.
So I was on a lot of really heavily anti-anxiety medications and things like that.
Yeah. I was thinking I'd been on, what was it? It was Ativan that I was on for a very long time. And last time I talked to you about it, Karen, I was thinking it was Klonopin, but it was Ativan that I had to slowly come off of. It wasn't Klonopin. I'd forgotten. I'd mixed them up, but they're both benzos. But yeah, it's not fun if you've been on
Yeah, well,
time and you have to.
I just wish they never put me on it in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of alternatives if you go see, like I went to go seek counseling and stuff like that, and I learned a lot of like breathing exercises and a lot of meditation exercises and things like that, which replaced my anxiety medication, and I haven't had a panic attack in probably close to 2 years now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I've been through a lot of that.
It really does help.
Yep.
Because sorry, I was going to say you can self-identify when they're starting to come on, and you can start doing your breathing exercises. And it kind of curbs it.
Yeah. Yeah, anxiety is no joke at all. You feel, I mean, when you're in a full-blown panic attack, it feels like you're going to die. I mean, you believe you're close to death. You really do. It feels like that. It's not fun. So where are you? Are you still at 0.75 right now, Karen? Is that where you are?
Yeah, that's where I'm at, and I hate it.
Yeah. Is that doctor? I believe it was. Well, I better not use her name here. But is she still working with you though? Not the
Dr. Lee? Yeah, she's still working with me.
Okay. I hope
and the psychiatric pharmacist is working with me. And my therapist is working with me. It's just it's just really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been really incredibly hard.
Yeah, Tommy Bird says right here, he says, I weaned myself off Valium that I took daily for panic attacks. I learned how to stop and talk myself out of the attacks and then weaned myself off on my own somehow. Was younger and stronger. Wow. Tommy, wow. That's impressive. Good night. Yeah, I'm a big boob. I have to have everything.
Heather, I actually weaned myself off last year.
Off of what?
I weaned myself off, and I got off of Klonopin. I got down to 0.25.
Mm-hmm.
Down to 0.25.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was already on Seroquel, so it wasn't bothering me at all.
Uh-huh.
But then they took me up to Seroquel, so then they decided to do that. There's been a lot of lying going on between the doctors and everything. Between the psychiatrist and me.
Uh-huh.
But I'll let you know that I did fire their psychiatrist today.
You did? Ah, yes. I know that you guys don't know a lot of what's been going on with Karen. And Karen, I hope I hope this is okay to say this, but Karen is becoming very, what do you want? If you're going to bite me again, this cat's here again that was biting me earlier. Let me see. Okay, Karen is learning how to be her own advocate, and she's dealing with a lot of different healthcare providers that are supposed to be part of a team. And I'm going to have her come on, and we're going to talk about being your own advocate, because a lot of times I believe we give the doctors way too much power, and we just we go with whatever they say instead of voicing our opinions and voicing what we want. And I mean, really, the doctors need to be listening to their patients. And if a doctor's not going to listen to me, I'm not going to bother going to his office anymore. That's why I try to strictly stick with PAs, because they listen to you a lot more, in my experience, than MDs do. But I'm going to have Karen come on, and we're going to talk about being your own advocate.
One thing with Pennsylvania is that they actually, with not Pennsylvania, but with my old medical doctor, was that he put me on Klonopin, and I didn't have a clue of what it was, and he never told me.
Yeah, he didn't tell you it was a benzo and that it could be addictive and abused, and you didn't know. You just went along with what he was telling you to do, But
yeah, but then he turned around and it was like 4 milligrams a day right off the top. And then 3 years later, I asked to come off of it, and he said no.
Huh. Yeah, but you won't ever put up with that again, will you? I hope not.
Never.
Good girl, yes. Yes. I mean, when you are, if you are in a state of mind, where I've been a psych nurse, I've had some people that have been, totally in a different world. I mean, they were not in the same world the rest of us were in. In that case, you really do need to do what your doctor's telling you. But, once you have your wits about you again, and you know what's going on, you should be the one who has the say in what goes on, which medications you try, which ones you don't, which ones you stay on, which ones you don't, because only you're the only one that can decide whether they're going to work for you or if they're going to do you any good. We really need to not give medical professionals as much power over us as they used to, they're used to getting. And that's just the world by Heather Joy, but it's the way I see it. And unfortunately, that's not. Nurses are supposed to be advocates for their patients as well, and that's not being taught anymore either, which really disturbs me. It's kind of a mess. What's your experience been, Mr. Ray?
As far as
doctors and having things shoved down your throat, have you have someone you can work with?
It's like doctors are like any other profession in people's. You got good ones and you got bad ones, and you just got to keep looking until you get something that works for you.
Yep.
And a lot of times I found really more success with nurse practitioners than I have with doctors.
Goosebump just said something that nurse practitioners. See, there's only one nurse practitioner that in where I live that we have right now, besides a lady that's an OBGYN.
Hey, Heather, I'm going to jump off. I'll see you later.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Well, it's great to see you too. Give me a call.
Okay, hang in there, okay?
Bye-bye. Have a good one. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, there's only one nurse practitioner that isn't an OBGYN where I live, and he's somebody I went to high school with, so I'm not going to go see him.
Yeah, I get that.
but I go to PAs, and I will, unless I go to my pain specialist. I don't go to MDs anymore because they don't listen. It's rare you find an MD. I mean, I know I know it's just in my own little world. I know there are MDs out there that are great, but just my experience where I live, the PAs listen, the MDs don't. They already decide before you even, before they walk into the room, they've already looked at your chart. They've already decided before they even talk to you. And that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You don't, guys, everybody that's listening, you do not have to put up with that. You do not, and don't put up with it.
And sometimes knowing what's wrong with yourself and everything else like that plays a good part of it, because sometimes I had to take a doctor that I didn't like because I couldn't find any other doctors in the area that I lived. So I didn't have the choice to shop around.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people end up with that situation.
And you can get a really good flake too when you do have to do that for a doctor.
Yeah. Oh man. Tommy Bird says his mom was an RN for 25 years and got fired at her last job in home health for what? For caring about her patients more than the charting. Oh, that is so sad, Tommy. Any nurse that was trained before the year 2000 was taught how to be a damn good nurse. Excuse my swearing, but that's what I'm seeing. Nurses are not taught to be advocates for their patients anymore. They are more taught to just boss the patients around and do what they're, you do what you're told. And that makes me angry.
Well, it's just like they're cattle worker. They're just cattle workers. You're in a cattle farm when you go to the hospital now. You got this cookie cutter stamp sheet and X, Y, and Z, and you do this, you do that, and that's it. There's no there's no personal interaction anymore and everything else. It's like you might as well go to a stockade and become cattle when you go to the hospital.
Yeah, and boy,
But Tommy's nurses, they were all right.
Tommy's nurses.
His nurses, Tommy's nurses when he was in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were actually pretty cool.
I hope they were good.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I met one nurse. She was all right.
Yeah, for a minute I wasn't following. I just thought you were referring to something else that, we won't go there. But yeah.
Well, it's very rare that you run into people like that.
I've just been blown away at some of the things that I have heard and seen from, but my heart really goes out to, the people in the UK, because I know we have a lot of people from the UK that, they have the socialized medicine and they don't get the care that they need. Then they are so overwhelmed. They don't, I'm just blown away at the things that I am hearing, that they're not getting the care that they need or the attention over in the UK, and it just breaks my heart.
Yeah, it's like their healthcare system is good if you break your leg or your arm, but if you need something more serious than that, then you get basically put on a waiting list of priority.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're a rich, wealthy celebrity, then you can go over there and get advanced medical treatment that is not approved in the United States that could actually save your life, which you couldn't get in the United States. So it's weird being a socialized medicine over there, but yet they have certain things that are better than they have here because they don't have to go through the FDA or the whatever it's called, their trials.
Yeah, my grandmother, half my family's Australian, and my Australian grandmother died because of lack of proper healthcare, in my opinion, but didn't have to happen. Yeah. But
so the technology is there, it's whether they utilize it or not for the people.
Yeah,
like I said, you just have to have a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah. I know a lot of people. I have a couple of friends in the UK, and they tell me that if they cannot, all of them that can afford it go to Hungary and where was the other place? But they go out of country to get their dental work done.
Yeah, because a lot of countries, they have a sliding scale, which basically it's XYZ or whatever. You go there for a certain procedure, it's going to cost this much money, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why a lot of people in Tucson or in southern Arizona, they'll go to Mexico and get a lot of procedures done in Mexico because it's affordable there and they can't afford it here in Tucson.
Yeah. My sister went down and had um, weight loss surgery in Mexico. I mean, she did her research and found a good place, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was a quarter of what it would have cost her here.
exactly. And a lot of those doctors actually have offices in this country. They
I
just choose to work over there because it's, I don't know, it's cheaper or
they,
something for them.
well,
They don't have
they aren't held down with all of the different
liability
companies
insurance.
and all the hoops that they have to that you have to jump through here. And I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I hear a lot of people here in the States say, "Oh, we need socialized medicine, we need free healthcare," but I don't think you guys understand what you're asking for. If you're asking for it, the quality of care will go down,
Yeah.
and you
I
will
believe
end
that.
up on a list that
Yeah.
you might not ever get to the top of.
And that's what a lot of people in Canada complain about. Like they're, they have like they have cancer and they're on a 6 month waiting list.
Yep.
But I mean, the United States has a lot of issues with its healthcare system. Yes,
We
it
have
needs
our
to be
issues.
fixed, but it
Yeah,
needs to be fixed in the right way.
exactly. We've got it's a mess, but and it but I'll take what we've got now over what the UK or Australia has right now.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm in a good position where I have insurance and the where I live too. I'm blown away. There's people in California. Some of the people that I know in California, the healthcare, you have to be a certain you're how can I put this nicely? Your skin color has to be a little bit darker to get care. If you are my color, I things are a mess here, and every state's different too.
Yeah.
But I'm happy where I am. But I know a lot of people
I
don't.
wonder if that has a lot to, not to get political, but I wonder if that has a lot to do with, people's, political upbringing, whether they get kind of like self-loathing or something, or they hate themselves or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I have my own ideas, but I'm not going to talk about them here.
No, I hear you.
But yeah, anyway, it's oh boy, I am sorry, you guys, that it worked out this way and Tommy didn't get to come on.
Oh, it's been terrible here. I videotaped it. It was like ping pong ball size to marble size hell.
No, so
And
you're in Arizona again?
I'm in Tucson.
I thought you were in near Boston.
No, I'm not back east. I've lived here for
Well,
several
then
years.
who am I thinking of?
I don't know, probably.
I was
Army.
thinking you would just move.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. Well, okay, but I'm
Hey,
also.
it's Boston. What can you do? No, just kidding. I don't know.
Oh boy! Actually, our youngest son is moving to Boston at the end of this year. I think. I don't know how I
There
feel
you go.
about that.
Jeez. No, I live in the same town as Tommy, and
Okay, so
it rolled in here first. Now, and I saw that thing that Tommy was going to do a live. I texted him right before that, like,
Oh,
do
no.
you still have power, Tommy? He texts back, no.
Oh, man. Well, it's crazy. We've been, Utah gets the monsoons too, but we don't get the hail and the wind as badly as
Oh,
you guys do.
it was crazy.
We always get the rain, which I love, but we don't get the hail. It's rare we get the hailstorms like you guys experience. My brother's in Phoenix, and I've heard crazy stories.
Well, a lot of times Phoenix doesn't get any rain because they got that urban climate with all the concrete buildings and stuff, and it just kind of cuts a hole in the cloud from the thermal updrafts. Just actually makes the clouds go,
Really?
makes rain clouds literally go around Phoenix because it's
Oh,
because it's just so hot from all the concrete making like a thermal updraft, and it'll actually make the clouds go around them. But when it does rain in Phoenix, I mean, they're having like water rescue, fire departments doing water rescues off the 101 and the I-10.
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
So when it does rain there, it's just crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, and then I guess there's every time it rains and they have those big those areas for all the water to rush into, and everybody goes tubing. It sounds kind of fun.
Oh no, you don't want to go tubing in a wash.
Oh, really?
No, they got because
You do it.
well, what it does is it picks up a lot of like mesquite tree branches and a lot of debris and garbage and stuff, and it'll just you're basically throwing yourself into a blender if you try to do something dumb like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going by the tubing I used to do on the little river where I live.
Oh yeah, you can go tubing on a river. I'll I've been down tubing down the Salt River and stuff like that. I'm
Uh-huh.
all for that, but don't jump into a flooded wash.
Oh, I thought my
It's not a
sister
good idea.
said something about the washes when they fill up that people would go tubing down 'em. Maybe I misunderstood, but
They would well, if anybody gets caught up in a wash like that, they usually find them a few years later,
okay, I must have misunderstood.
miles and miles away. No, you definitely do not want it. It's highly dangerous. A lot of debris. The water moves upwards to 40 50 miles an hour, and it's you're going to get hit by bulgers the size of Volkswagens. So yeah, I don't it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah.
recommend it.
Well, I've been in a couple of flash floods, but nothing like that.
Oh, and
Nothing.
it's a wall of water. It comes up really quick. I mean, it's just the flash floods in Tucson and around Tucson. It's just phenomenal, and it kills a lot of people every year.
Yikes.
Just people thinking they can make it through the wash, and it just picks up their vehicle, and
Wow.
they find them, 20 miles down the wash.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't even find them at all.
Jeez.
For an example, this one guy, he got his car stuck in a flash flood, and he went to step out of his car. And they always say stay in your car because they can get you easier. But he stepped out, he got washed away, and it was basically on the north side of Tucson, and disappeared. They found his hikers found his skull 15 years later.
Oh, good grief.
About 40 miles away from the Mexican border in the Santa Cruz Wash. So his body literally traveled like 100 miles.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not a good thing to be stuck in.
So it was 114 there today?
Oh yeah, that's what really contributed to the aggressive storm.
Okay.
You got that cold front coming in from Mexico, and you just got that wall of heat, and they slam together.
And then
it's kind of like when you start getting tornadoes, and so that's the hell is usually a sign of potential tornado activity.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
that's just crazy. I know that I've been seeing just through the chat, other people were saying it was like 105 in some places, and
the whole country's overheating.
I just can't imagine.
Didn't they say that even the global temperature is hotter than it's ever been in all of its recorded history? I can believe it.
Crazy. You guys take care of yourselves. I did a show just on, keeping yourself from going into heat exhaustion. Just make sure you're replacing your fluids and replacing your salt and stay,
hydrate the night before.
Yeah.
You really got to keep a 1 day ahead of yourself when it comes to hydration.
Yeah, you really do. So yeah, and if you're sweating a lot, you really do. You need to replace the salt too, or you will pay for it the next day. You'll be achy and sore, and you just won't feel right. It's not good.
Potassium is also a good.
Quiet Girl says it was cold today. It was 97. Oh, good.
Man, that's jacket weather.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was today, but it wasn't. I don't think it was over 100. I'm in northern Utah right now. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
It gets hot in Utah.
It does.
It's extremely hot in Utah.
3 years ago, we did Spartan races here in Utah, and this was up in the mountains, up at Snow Basin, at a ski resort, and even up there, it was 103, and so many people got pulled off the course because of heat exhaustion. It was bad. Some days it can get really hot, and yeah.
Lake Powell is now known as Puddle Powell.
We used to go there,
Lake what?
and there's just not enough to go and do anything down there right now.
Oh no, it's done. It's
so sad. Yeah, my brother used to have a houseboat, and we'd go there every year in October. when it had cooled down a bit, and we'd spend a week down there and water ski and just horse around, and it was so much fun. But
Yeah, I used to go there when I was a kid.
yeah, good
So,
memories there.
go fishing, water skiing, the whole gambit. But yeah, it was a huge lake back then, back in the 80s.
Miss Dragon says 1936 was hotter than now, and yeah, there's been a couple of years where I've seen, there were just some incredible heat waves where people were just, ooh, it was. Oh, and she said Philadelphia, quite grossly, Philadelphia was over 100 today. Wow.
Well,
Yikes.
the Philly cheesesteaks cooked themselves.
There you go. So how are your chickens handling this heat?
I have them inside in AC.
There you go.
Spoiled chickens. I have them in a coop.
Chickens lay nice eggs. They really do.
I already have a home for most of them. I'm only going to keep 3 of them. And then I'm going to give the rest away. There's this person that has a farm outside of town.
Ah.
That's going to take the rest of them. They have a big coop.
Cool.
All that stuff.
Well,
so I'm going to mark the ones that go, and then you go, ah. That's what it sounded like.
We eat all of ours. When I see, okay, if I raise them, if I incubate them and I raise them, I would get really attached to them, and I can't part with those.
I haven't named mine.
But the ones that, all of them that are roosters, we either, once it's apparent they become roosters, I have to quit picking them up and quit naming them and all of that,
But find a home for them or eat them.
We eat them. Well, and seeing that we have so many, we've got ours free range now. And so like the other day, it was last week, 17 new babies, because sometimes the hens will go off on their own and you don't know it. And they show back in about 4 weeks, it's 3 weeks to incubate. And then in about, I don't know, anywhere between 3 and 4 weeks, they come back with all these babies. We had 17 new babies after we've already had how many batches this year. And so we've got so many roosters we need to, and a couple more months, we'll just have a big butcher day and take care of it all. But we just eat all of our roosters. But some of them might just cook themselves in this heat this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I have 9 chickens, and I think 2 of them are roosters and the rest are hens.
Well, you need 3 or 4 to keep, because they're flock animals and they need each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, you'll need at least.
Because the other chickens I got are getting kind of old. They're like about 4 or 5 years old. So I'm gonna keep 3 of them in there, so they rotate them out when the other ones stop producing eggs.
There you go.
And then I'll just keep the rooster that I have.
Well, we got a drug addiction channel when we're talking about weather and
chickens. And
anyway, if any of you ever want to start doing chickens,
that's good for sobriety.
It really is.
If you can afford it, if you have the space and whatever.
Have a place for them. They are wonderful. There's something about getting up in the morning and having all these little critters that are happy to see you. Yeah. And you got to feed them, and
There's nothing like getting up at 3 a.m. when the rooster's making all that noise. It's
wonderful. Where we just moved, we've got, everybody has chickens and ducks. The people behind us have ducks. So it starts about 2:30, one rooster, and then the one across the street will start. And but it starts at 2:30, but you get used to it. You don't even notice it. But
I tried to turn my rooster into chicken dinner for about a month. We kept crowing at like 3 a.m. Now he does it at 7:30, so it's all right.
You get used to it. I love the noise now. I love it. But the ducks, I'm still not used to that quite yet. That was just a weird noise. But
the quacking noise, the loud quacking noise, the group quacking noise.
And then we got rabbits that are just running. They like our house because nobody tends to bother them. I leave them little treats out and water for the rabbits. But we just figure we'll keep them. I guess there's a lot of rabbits in the area because somebody's pets got loose and they never bothered to bring them back in. And so they've been breeding, and there's lots of rabbits. But you know what? If things get really tough, well, I've got a shotgun or a rifle and I can go and get some dinner. And we have a reservoir really close where we can get some catfish.
Oh my
We
God!
won't starve. We won't starve.
I'm going to your house in the end of the world apocalypse. Get some chicken rabbit stew with fried catfish or something. I
Well,
don't know.
I figured though, honestly, between the eggs, the chickens, the rabbits, and the possible fishing, we won't starve. But boy, we really got off subject, guys, and I apologize. Tommy left, and whoop, there we went. If I don't have anything, if I don't have anything prepared beforehand, then yeah, sorry guys, but as I apologize everybody that it turned out this way. You know, the power going out, and you guys couldn't ask your questions of Tommy and everything, and I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I came on here to just tell you that it was really
it was bad.
Really bad. I mean, my trailer I thought was tilting off its wheels.
Yikes!
I mean, I had this nasty crosswind. I mean, just the ice falling out of the sky, and
wow,
my power went off for 5 minutes. I was like, I live in the hood. Why is my power better than Tommy? Tommy lives in a really nice area of town, has considered upper middle class, and his power goes out more than mine. What's up with that? When they got a hamster in a wheel down the road, got struck by lightning. I mean, what's power in his house? It's terrible. It's just terrible. Poor guy.
Man.
Spent a lot of money on his house. I'd be like, I want some of my money back.
Well, between Tommy and I, we'll get things set up properly for the next time. He'll do another one of these very soon.
I go by his house to go camping. I got this gray house. I got to go down the street to my neighbors.
Well, thank you, Allison. She said chickens are a fun topic. I agree. And I didn't know how much I would take to it until my husband in 2020 said, let's do chickens. And I went, huh? Because, I grew up on a farm, but we didn't have the animal farm. We were just cultivation farming, corn and alfalfa and oats and stuff like that. But anyway, it's all good. But I hope you guys all have a great night, and I hope you don't get hit with hail that knocks your power out, because you need the AC right now. It's too dang hot.
Oh yeah, you cannot go without any type of air conditioning right now anywhere in the United States.
I know it's sad.
And you get a lot of these like inner cities like Chicago and a lot of these like northern states and stuff where people just don't find it a necessity to buy air conditioning because they don't need it. And
yeah,
I remember one year I was in Chicago and like 600 elderly people died in 1 year just because they didn't have air conditioning because they weren't used to it. I mean, in Chicago it snows.
Yeah.
Why do you need an air conditioning? It didn't get past 80 degrees there in the summer.
Well, I know people up in in the Washington, Seattle area.
Yeah.
It's not routine to buy.
Oh, they're getting blasted too.
And yeah, everybody's getting blasted. So guys, just look out for yourselves.
Yeah. So be prepared.
Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you have your electrolytes, and try to stay out of the sun. Don't go out in the middle of the day, unless you absolutely have to, because it's bad right now. And
if you live in the hood like me, just get yourself a box fan. Go freeze a couple milk jugs full of ice. Stick it behind the box fan. Make yourself some poor man's air conditioning.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I grew up without AC, but it wasn't this hot either. Yeah.
I don't ever remember my life it being this hot.
Yeah, I don't either. But I think. Well, I can't even go there. I'm not a political channel.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll get myself into trouble, but I honestly think it's just a natural cycle that the earth goes through, but that's just me. But,
well, it is. You got climate cycles, and that's whatever.
Yeah.
And there you go.
But, guys, take care of yourselves, okay? And I will be on first thing in the morning, and watch me say this, and then something will happen and Tommy will come on again. Every time I do this, something happens, but I plan on being on first thing in the morning. So,
well, I'll leave and he'll show up. Nobody will be here. He's like, "Hi, it's Tommy. I got my power back on, guys," and like nobody's here.
Yep. But thank you, Mr. Ray, for popping on. Thank you, Karen, for coming on. And anyway, it's 9:09. I bet, at least where I am. So anyway, we better get off. But I will talk to you guys again in the morning. And thank you for everyone for tuning in. And again, I apologize for what has happened tonight. But oh well.
Hey, I can vouch for it. It was a pretty messed up storm.
It must have been, man. So anyway, you guys all have a good night. And I'll see you in the morning. Good night, guys.
Later, everybody.